Today we're going to talk about the slope-intercept form in section 5.3. You're going to learn how to write and graph linear equations using the slope-intercept form. A function whose graph is a line is a linear function. You can represent a linear function with a linear equation such as y equals 6x minus 4. A solution of a linear equation is any ordered pair xy that makes the equation true. An intercept of a line is a point where a line crosses an axis. The y-intercept of a non-vertical line is the point at which the line crosses the y-axis, as well as the x-intercept being the point at the non-horizontal line that crosses the x-axis. Okay, so the y-intercept is where your line crosses the y-axis, and the x-intercept is where your line crosses the x-axis. These terms should not be unfamiliar to you. We have talked about ordered pairs in this class, linear functions, and linear equations. The slope-intercept form of a linear equation of a non-vertical line is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is your y-intercept. This is the form that you will be using in this lesson, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So find the slope and y-intercept of the graph of each equation. So the first one, y equals 5x minus 2, we need to put this in the slope-intercept form. Is this equation already in slope-intercept form? Yes. Okay, so your slope is m. In this equation, what is our slope? 5 is, because 5 is being multiplied to x. What is your y-intercept? Good, it's negative 2. Okay, make sure you keep it negative, okay, because remember this equation says y equals mx plus b. So here, since we have minus 2, we're really adding negative 2. Okay, so your y-intercept is at negative 2. This is where your line crosses the y-axis. Do the second one on your own. I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, so what is your slope? Good, it's negative 1/2. And what's your y-intercept? Sorry, that's a 2. What's your y-intercept? Good, it's positive 10. You can just write 10. So the slope is negative 1/2, and your y-intercept is positive 10. Okay, write an equation for each line. This lesson we're talking about slope-intercept form, so I want you to write your equation in slope-intercept form. Here I give you the slope and also give you the y-intercept. So remember, what's slope-intercept form? What's the equation? Good, it's y equals mx plus b. Okay, so since our slope is 0, I plug 0 in for m. So I get y equals 0x Okay, so you get y is equal to, plug 0 in for m, you get y is equal to 0x and since our y-intercept's at 0, negative 2, what is the order pair? The y variable is negative 2, So you plug in -2 in for b, so plus -2 will be just -2. Now, do I need to write 0x? No, because 0 times x is 0, right? So when I write my equation, I end up simplifying it to get y is equal to -2. Okay? If I were to graph this line, where's y -2? Down here, right? On the y-axis. So my line would be the line that every point lies on -2. This is this line for y equals -2. I have a slope of 0, so it's a horizontal line. Remember, undefined slope is when you have a vertical line. Okay, looking at the next problem. If I give you a graph and I ask you to write the equation for the problem, what are the two things that you need for your slope-intercept form? Remember, it's y equals mx plus b. So m represents our slope, right? Okay, so first I need to find my slope. If I have a graph, I can use the counting method to find my slope. So let's find 2 points where the graph crosses exactly at an exact point. So here, then the next time it crosses at an exact point is here. So when I count up, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise is 4 and my run is 1, 2, 3. It's positive slope from left to right because it's going up. So my slope is rise over run, which is 4/3. Does everybody see that? Okay. What is my y-intercept? Where does my graph cross the y-axis? Here, right? At this point. Okay, so your y-intercept is at -4. So your b is -4. So when you plug these into your slope-intercept equation, you get y is equal to 4/3 x minus 4. Okay, you can't simplify it any further, so this is it. Box in your answer. Okay, here, write an equation slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the given points. So here I gave you 2 points. So remember, to write in slope-intercept form, you have to find the slope and the y-intercept, correct? Alright, so with these points here, so to find my slope when I'm given 2 points, I use the equation m is equal to the change in my y's over the change in my x's. Okay, so my y's are going to be 10 minus -7, which is going to be plus 7, over change in my x's. Remember, I keep them in the same order. So I do the second x, 0 minus -5, which is plus 5. You have to excuse my handwriting on this pad. Okay, 10 plus 7 is 17. And then 0 plus 5 is 5. So your slope is 17 over 5. You can leave your slope as an improper fraction. You don't have to reduce it because it can't be reduced. So we have my slope and we also need the y-intercept. Are one of these points my y-intercept? This one is, right? Okay, 0, 10 is because that's where the line crosses the y-axis. So your equation for this line will be y is equal to your slope, which is 17 over 5. Don't be afraid of improper fractions. Your answer correct to improper fraction. Plus 10. Okay? So for number 6, I'm given 2 points. So remember, we want our answer in slope-intercept form, so I need to find my slope first, right? Okay, doing that, I have -1 minus 6 over 8 minus 1. Okay, so my slope is negative 7 over 7, which is just negative 1, right? All right. Now, these 2 points here are not my y-intercept. So I need to solve to find my y-intercept. So I can use the slope-intercept form equation and then solve for b once I have my slope. So remember, the slope-intercept form equation is y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to plug negative 1 in for my slope and write plus b. Okay, so to solve for b, I could choose either one of these points to plug in to get b. I'm going to choose 8, negative 1. Okay, so I'll plug negative 1 in for, I'm going to choose this point here to plug in from x and y into this equation. Okay, so I have negative 1 is equal to negative 1 times 8 plus b. It's supposed to be parentheses, sorry guys. Okay, so when I solve this, I get negative 1. So negative 1 times 8 is negative 8, right? So to get rid of a negative 8 on this side of the equation, I add 8 to this side of the equation. So negative 1 plus 8 is equal to b. So what do I have b equal? What's 8 minus 1? 7. Good. So b is going to be equal to 7. So I found my slope and I found my y-intercept. So now I can plug them into my equation and I get y is equal to negative 1x plus 7. Okay, you don't have to write negative 1 here. You can write your answer as y is equal to negative x. Because remember, multiplying by 1 is implied. Negative x plus 7. Okay, pause the video and try to do number 7 on your own. First thing I need to do is find my slope. So I plug my points to the slope equation, the difference in my y's over the difference in my x's, keeping them in the same order. And I get that my slope is negative 1/5. Now, since neither one of these points are my y-intercept, I need to do the same thing I did on number 6. Solve for b. Okay, so once I solve for b, I plugged in negative 2, negative 1 into my equation. And then I solve for b. I had to get a common denominator here, and I get negative 7/5 is equal to b. So now I can write my equation in slope-intercept form. Y is equal to, my slope is negative 1/5 x minus 7/5, because that is my y-intercept. And I'm done. So the way you check your answers on these is to plug negative 1 in for x. And if you plug negative 1 in for x and get negative 2, then that is correct. Also plug negative 1, I'm sorry guys, plug negative 2 in for x, and when you plug negative 2 in for x and you solve, you should get negative 1 for y, and same thing here, when you plug 8 in for x, you should get negative 3 for y, and it does work out. So make sure you always check yourself by plugging the original points back into your final equation to make sure that when you plug that x in, you do indeed get that y. Okay, the last set of problems, so here you need to write each equation in slope-intercept form, then find the slope and y-intercept for each line. So what you do here is you solve for y for each problem, and then put it in slope-intercept form. Go ahead and try to do these now. For number 8, when you solve for y, you get y equals negative 5x plus 4, where your slope is negative 5 and your y-intercept is 4. Number 9, when you solved, you get y equals negative 9/2x minus x. Slope is 9/2. Y-intercept is negative 5. So remember, when you divide by negative 2, you divide both parts of the problem by negative 2 because there's a plus sign here. The negative 2 belongs to the negative 9x and the 10, and then you split them up. On number 10, when you solve for y, you get y equals positive 1/2x minus 3/4, so your slope is 1/2, and your y-intercept is negative 3/4. Okay, going to the next page, ask you to graph each equation. Okay, so to graph each equation, since we know the slope-intercept form now, you can write the equation slope-intercept form, graph your y-intercept, and then count the slope to get your next point, instead of using a table like we have been using. Do these on your own. Pause the video and do them on your own. So doing the first one together, your slope is at 2 and your y-intercept is at 0, so it crosses the y-axis at 0 right here. And your slope is up 2 over 1, so you go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and then you use the line, draw a line to connect your points.